Hello, guys and gals, me Mudahar, and bullying works, okay? Now, I don't want to start with this video condoning bullying. Bullying is wrong. Bullying is haram. You won't be entering in the kingdom of heaven if you bully people, okay? But corporate bullying, the act of basically telling big corporations to go stick it where the sun don't shine, actually works if you all work together. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Helldivers 2 is a game I talked about a day or two ago, and I was a bit saddened by the fact that Sony was willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater and absolutely destroy all the goodwill they could on one of the most popular online games and one of the most beloved games ever. Helldivers 2 was basically prepped for Game of the Year, Best Online Contender, until, of course, 2-3 days ago when Sony started mandating people to sign in to PlayStation Network, or they just couldn't play the game. Now, you might be sitting over here wondering, but Muda, was it really that much of a hassle to make a PlayStation account? It only takes like 90 seconds. Yeah, it actually was a bit of a hassle. See, there were some countries that just couldn't allow PlayStation Network because Sony wouldn't service them. So for a lot of those countries where the gamers ended up buying the game on Steam, would have actually just been revoked access from, okay? So imagine legally selling a video game to a group of people, and then like 3 months later down the road, you just say, all right, well, you can't access your game anymore. I don't give a shit what EULA you sign. I'm sure that is not legally binding in any capacity. That is just scumbag behavior. Now, you would think with the backlash that Sony would just instantly reverse these decisions, but they didn't do that. It wasn't that simple. Because the next thing that happened was they actually stopped selling the game in over 100 territories. So for a lot of people that said countries, I'm going to say regions because some of these places, I guess, double up. And if you look at this big list, this is actually the area where, like, the actual Helldivers 2 product keys couldn't be activated or the game itself couldn't be purchased in various areas. So these places include Afghanistan all the way to Egypt, Iraq, all right? You've got places like Pakistan that it just couldn't end up buying it. You've got Palau, you've got Papua New Guinea, you've got Chad, the Chads couldn't buy it. Holy See, or I'm pretty sure the Pope is shitting themselves because they couldn't play some Helldivers 2. And of course, you've also got unknown country code XD. All right, so there's a few places, Vietnam, for instance, where the game just wasn't really available. For some reason, the game wasn't purchased in like the US Minor Outlying Islands and the US Virgin Islands, which from what I understand, Puerto Rico is actually listed right over here. So it's interesting that in some places where you would think the laws would allow PlayStation to access, they just couldn't get into. So yeah, looking at this list, that's a whole bunch of players that just couldn't even get access to one of the biggest games and one of the most beloved games out there, all because PlayStation access was causing issues. This list is a bit questionable too, because in certain areas like Japan, for instance, I guess they couldn't buy the game either. So when I looked at this list, it made me kind of question things. Maybe Japan was included here because the Japanese have like a different regional version. But yeah, one thing to understand, the one scientist in Antarctica is absolutely having a fucking bad day because of this. Now, it was a response to the people calling out that first point that I brought up. If you're selling a game in a region where 4 months down the road, when you start enforcing your bullshit PlayStation Network requirement, what about the people that bought the game in a region that is unsupported? Are they going to be able to play the video game at all? And obviously, I'm pretty sure some legal department at Sony probably told them you shouldn't have sold the game to begin with if that was your whole fucking plan. So of course, ladies and gentlemen, at this moment in time, PlayStation really did burn their goodwill. They really did cause an issue. And of course, in the last day or two, the last day really, they said, hey boys, we heard the feedback. That May 6th update when we required you? That's not going to be moving forward, Lois. It ain't happening. We're still learning what's the best for PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support of Helldivers 2, and we'll keep you updated on future plans. Now, I'm not fucking stupid, okay? I'm not dumb, all right? I might be dumb in a lot of things, but I ain't dumb here. You see, that last sentence just basically translates to, oh, we pushed a little too far. We're gonna reconvene in the office right now and just basically talk about how we can insert poison a little bit slower, all right? Because this is not a win, okay? This is a win in the short term. But to give you an idea, the gaming industry the reason why video games and the reason why gaming preservation, I'm going to kind of go back to that point. The reason why things are as bad as they are is because very slowly do companies push like this. If you think about backlash, this is pretty much equivalent to when the Xbox One dropped, you know? You remember back when the Xbox One was coming out and they were talking about, hey guys, we have an online requirement check-in every day. So it wasn't really that huge, or at least they were trying to downplay it by saying, hey, every 24 hours, your Xbox is going to send a little ping to the Microsoft servers, and the Microsoft servers are going to send a ping back. But yeah, that effectively turned the console into, from my understanding, if I recall right, an entire, brick if you weren't properly checking in your Xbox. Now, compared to PlayStation 4 at the time of its release, it was just, like old systems. You could just buy it, optionally set it up for online, but you could buy discs and play stuff offline. And Microsoft got rightfully roasted for that. In fact, it was such a bad moment for Xbox that it pretty much shifted the company into the trajectory that it is nowadays, right? Remember, Xbox 360 was one of the biggest systems when it dropped. Most beloved consoles. Xbox One ruined so much goodwill that Xbox is still paying for it, like literally today. And this is the same thing with Sony, right? Their intention is to get people on the PSN. Don't think that for any second what they were doing was to build, security. It was to get those monthly active user numbers up. And this is one thing where they pushed the PC gaming community, and the PC gaming community rightfully stuck together and protested this change. It actually reminds me back to things like Games for Windows Live. Like, if you don't remember GFWL, Games for Windows Live, at the time it was Microsoft's own version of basically bringing the Xbox ecosystem to PC. Now, one of the problems is they created one of the worst overlays and I guess launchers for this process too, but they also brought the online subscription fees that Xbox Live players pay to this day over to the PC. Now, this was met with so much backlash that Microsoft pretty much canceled that whole project, reversed those subscription fees, and basically kept online multiplayer free on PC as it's supposed to be. To this day, the only gaming networks that actually give free online play are PC-only ones. You've got Nintendo Switch Online service, you've got PlayStation Network, Xbox Live. Console gamers are totally okay with paying for online when it comes for paid-for games. Obviously, free-to-play stuff, questionable. I'm pretty sure you can play like Fortnite free on every major console. In fact, any free-to-play download game. That could change sometime down the road because these companies absolutely make a killing off subscription services every year. But PC players, no matter what, our networks, Steam, Epic Games, whatever, it's all free. Even the cloud saves don't have limitations like they do on consoles, at least on PlayStation 5. And our cloud services are pretty much free. I think Microsoft is as well, but that's kind of the world we live in with gaming, okay? What Sony did over here was try to push this draconian BS, and obviously gamers revolted, they pulled back, but if you think that they're not going to continue to do this any further, you would be hard-pressed. In fact, even the CEO for the company was pretty much kind of admitting that, yeah, these review bombs make sense. Your voices have been heard. They were literally trying to talk solutions with PlayStations, especially for people in those non-PlayStation Network countries. And honestly, I'm pretty sure this became a massive issue between the developer and the publisher because the developer was the one that was getting the absolute, shit on the internet for it, at least in the beginning. You had community managers that absolutely had to deal with angry individuals for the entire weekend that it came out. And it wasn't until Sony executives, I'm sure, looked at the backlash on the internet, on YouTube, on Steam, on various storefronts, various public-facing forums, that they were like, we gotta roll this shit back, okay? Now, they probably could have gotten away with it if they offered a free cosmetic, maybe like 100 free super credits, like 100 free micro... Dog, you own the fucking game. Just print money, okay? The US government prints money on a goddamn daily basis. I'm sure Sony could inflate the fucking Helldivers economy just briefly, okay? to get those monthly active users number up. Considered it an investment. And they probably could have gotten people to sign up for PlayStation Network access, okay? This probably may not have been an issue. This could have been treated entirely differently. But yeah, we're at a situation where, yeah, Sony apologized, but I'm gonna be real. I don't buy the apology at all. I don't really believe in it. I don't believe these corporate companies in any capacity. You know me, I always like to call out the BS when it comes between Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo. I have no favorites, no dog in this race. I play all of these pretty equally. And same with PC. But when you find something, shitty in the gaming industry, it's worth talking about. It's worth discussing, and it's worth absolutely raising a stink over. So yeah, Sony lost, gamers won, but I am sure that Sony is going to make this a long-term goal. That being said, let's see how this plays out. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like if you dislike it, I am out.